Great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Just going to give a second for us to connect with everyone who's online. We have over 240 registered for this event. So excited to see you all. And I also will have one of my colleagues joining as well. I'm gonna see if she hops on in any minute. So thank you so much for joining today, everyone. This is Ask a Recruiter, Connect with Canadian Employers, hosted by Devant, and also generally sponsored by CIBC. So my name is Sisha Maharaj. I'm a senior consultant, business development and external relations. I'm also a licensed mortgage agent. So super excited to have our guest today, COGIR Senior Living and Real Estate. This is our team here at Devant. And as I mentioned, I'll also be joined by one of our student ambassadors. Her name is Tashmeet Saluja and from Humber College. So she'll be joining us as well to ask questions to our wonderful guest today. So just by way of logistics, please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. Please let me know if you have any questions. Also, introduce us in terms of like what city are you joining us from today? What program are you taking in school if you're in school? And if you are graduated and a skilled worker, feel free to introduce yourself. This is a friendly space. All participants are muted, so there's no need to use your video. This is being recorded, so you will get access to this after the event so that you can have it for reference. I am going to encourage you to post your questions in the Q&A feature, and I will be asking those questions at the end. And also, please check out our website at www.devant.ca for other events coming up, and I will be highlighting that. So for those of you who are first time joining Devant, we help 150,000 students and alumni to get hired in Canada. We've also expanded locally to help with communities, and we work with a number of non-for-profits and other strategic partners as well, city by city across the country. We offer free actionable advice from career coaches and industry experts, such as our two recruiter guests today. And we also offer the latest AI-driven tools to polish your resume, your interview skills, and to make sure that you understand the key labor market information. We often hear that candidates are looking for good employers and good jobs, and then recruiters are looking for good matched, highly skilled candidates. So Devant is here to play the connector role and using our strategic partnerships and our technology to make it easier for the demand and supply of talent to connect. We also offer introductions to different partners. In addition to employers, we also offer expertise in immigration, academic life, and career development. And you'll hear more about this at the end. And I just want to welcome Tashmeet to the floor. So great to have you here, Tashmeet, and welcome.
Yeah.
I'm wondering
Hi,
if you're
Susha. Thank you so much for the welcome.
wonderful. I know you were in transit, so glad to
Yeah.
have you here. Please
Yeah,
feel free to introduce yourself after you've caught your breath. Let us know a little bit about what you're studying, and we're definitely going to lean on you afterwards for some questions as well.
for sure. Hi, everyone. This is Tashmeet here. I am a student at Humber College and I am working with Deva as a student ambassador and a data analytics intern. So I'm studying business analytics from Humber and I think I've been here for 2 years now and it's been super exciting. So yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Susha.
Thanks, Tashmeet. Thank you so much. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Luda and Melissa, two talent acquisition specialists from COGIR Real Estate. I know you've had a busy day today, but we're so thrilled that you're going to give us this hour of your time and your expertise to share with us your tips and some suggestions to help our job seekers who are joining us today. So without further ado, maybe we can just start off by, if you'd like to maybe introduce yourselves, please let us know a little bit about your role, maybe the positions that you recruit for and the locations, because we do have guests from across Canada joining us today. So Melissa, maybe I can ask you to go first and then followed by Luda.
Of course. So I am a talent acquisition specialist at COGIR, obviously, and I predominantly work in Southwestern and Southern Ontario. So everything with the exception of the GTA and Ottawa is basically me. So anything Durham, anything Kitchener-Waterloo, all the way out to Windsor, all kind of a little bit up north as well, not too much up there. And for the most part, I'm doing management and below in our senior living residences in our communities. And so that includes all the management levels, culinary, nursing, office manager, etc. And then all the frontline positions for that as well. So we're looking at PSWs, we're looking at reception, housekeepers, cooks, servers, anything that you can imagine lives in a senior living home.
Welcome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And Luda.
Yeah, so of course, also a talent acquisition specialist at COGIR Real Estate. My portfolio is actually more in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba for management and below. So same thing, the senior living residences that we run. And then I also recruit for executive directors countrywide. And then I support with some of our head office, support office roles as well out of Mississauga. And yeah, happy to be here.
Wow.
Thank you for having us.
Wow, that's a huge coverage. You're covering almost the entire country. So something or some opportunity for everyone that's on this call. So I love it. I love it so much. So maybe you can share with us, such an important work that you're doing and such important service. And I do have to say congratulations. I know you're opening up new locations, most recently in London, I hear. So just congratulations on your expansion. Tell us, what do you think makes your company unique in senior care and the real estate space? And what kind of a person do you think would thrive, at COGIR?
I can take this, Luda.
Sure.
I think one of the biggest things that COGIR likes to drive home is that all of the people that work for us are working in a senior's home. Like, this is where they live. This is where they entertain their families. This is where, their day-to-day happens. And so the most important thing is the customer service aspect. Everything else can kind of be taught, can kind of be helped along the way, but making sure that we have friendly, happy people who are willing to go above and beyond and do anything that it takes to make sure that everyone who's living in our communities is safe and happy and well taken care of.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And if you were to describe your company culture, what values do you look for in potential team members or potential new hires for your company?
Go ahead in this one. Much to like what Melissa was saying, really the empathy, care, compassion, very customer-centric sort of personalities, people that are going to be good at building relationships, whether it's with the residents or their team members, really having that genuine care for a vulnerable population, right? Let's say, because there are we have a lot of different levels of care, let's say. We've got everything from what we call independent residents, very mobile, doing their own thing, in and out, all the way up to those in memory care, which have things like Alzheimer's, dementia. So we have to be very mindful of the types of people that, are going to thrive here. And I think that's part of the interview process too, is really digging on people's whys. Why do you want to work with seniors? Why do you want to work in senior living? And I do find quite a lot of interesting stories from people as to kind of what drew them to work with seniors. It's very heartwarming a lot of the time. So I like that.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of your in-demand roles right now, it sounds like you have quite a few roles that you're in demand across the country. Maybe you want to highlight a few for us right now, as well as what skills, what skills do you see that make it stand out when you look at a candidate application right now? Are there any hot skills that you're looking for and any hot roles that you're looking to fill?
Yeah, so I will say that a lot of our homes, especially in Ontario, are in university and college towns. With that being said, with school ramping back up and our summer students moving back to where they are for the 9 months out of the year, a lot of our frontline roles are very open. A lot of our serving positions, especially kitchen positions, receptionist positions, that's kind of where we're hot and heavy around this time of the year. But then moving into the holidays, we also obviously have vacation coverage that we need for all of those things as well. But where we're really struggling and really hiring a lot is in our PSW and our healthcare center. We always are looking for genuine, empathetic people with the good customer service qualities as well, who are looking to kind of really care for people inside of their home.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything to add, Luda?
Yeah. Yeah, like the clinical side of things definitely is a bit of a struggle, especially we find in areas like Ottawa. And honestly, to be frank, it's because there's also a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of retirement, companies, competitors, so to speak. So everyone's sort of fighting for a very small pool of candidates. And we do have some sites that do require bilingualism as well, because it is Ottawa. So you can imagine if it's challenging to find a PSW, it's even more challenging to get one that's also bilingual. So there's definitely some challenges around, I feel like, the clinical side. Same with health and wellness managers. So our, what we call a director of care, who would oversee the whole clinical department. Those tend to be a little bit more difficult, especially in the Toronto GTA area. So definitely say those are hot ones. I also just wanted to add, just a bit of context also. So we are under COGIR Real Estate. COGIR Real Estate does have over 10,000 employees across Canada, including Quebec, which is a little bit sort of separated from us in the portfolio. And we operate a lot more than just senior living. We also have multi-residential. So we do hire for things like superintendents, for cleaners, for leasing agents, for property administrators, like lots and lots of opportunities on that side of the business, which we don't really touch as much. And then, of course, there's a commercial side to the business, definitely also separated from us, but nonetheless is there. And interestingly enough, COGIR also owns a couple of really high-end restaurants in Montreal, also on top of all of that. Yes. So,
Oh, wow.
but definitely the senior, it's really a very interesting sort of, portfolio under the real estate umbrella. So lots of opportunities all across the board, but, our focus is obviously senior living. So we do have quite a bit of these residences across all of Canada that we hire for. So yeah, definitely lots of opportunities, I think, out there.
Thank you. And to clarify, so it's COGIR. And when you say bilingual, are you speaking about French bilingual, or are you looking for other languages as well?
In Ottawa, predominantly would be French.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So for our guests who are here today, if you do speak French or you speak, multiple languages, this is good to know, but primarily French. And it's also great to understand that you do multi-residential and commercial as well. So I think that's really interesting to understand the diversity of roles. So, and Tashmeet, I'm going to ask you to join in. Is there anything that you wanted to add, or any questions that you were curious about that you'd like to ask?
I don't have any questions right now, but I'm really impressed by how much the company is spread. Like I was really surprised when Luga said that they even own hotels and restaurants in Montreal. So that was quite something new for me. So I think it's really good. Like there are a lot of opportunities for people to explore. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. And feel free to, jump in. If something comes to your mind that you want to ask, please do. So I think I'd love to hear, you surprised us a bit in terms of like the diversity. So what about some misconceptions about working in senior care, or in, this industry? Are there things that you want to share that maybe surprised you, or that you feel have surprised new hires when they join COGIR?
Yeah, I think I'm sure there's many, many surprising things, but one of the most surprising, and I'm sure Luda can agree with me on this one, we visited many of our communities across Ontario specifically, and every single time we're completely blown away by what our communities actually offer in terms of activities, in terms of food. It's very hotel-esque. Sometimes we even call it a cruise ship on land. So I will say, like, the misconception of, senior living is boring, it's clinical, it's hotel. It's not. It's so fun, and everyone is so excited to be there. And, there's never a dull moment in our homes. I will say that for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And in terms of like career, I would say progression, are there any opportunities for career growth or career paths that exist? You mentioned one already, in terms of the, director of care, Luda. Are there any other sort of pathing programs or leadership pathways that you'd like to share for individuals maybe who start in a more entry level but can move their way up within the company? It sounds like you have so many different levels.
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few, there's a lot of growth opportunities here. And that a lot of the leaders we have here do promote from where do like to sometimes they start as a receptionist and then they grow to an office manager and maybe then they grow to an executive director. I can think of actually one of our regional directors of operation in the GTA. He's been with the company for over 22 years. And I believe he started as an office manager and he grew to, I think, like a national administrative manager, then an executive director, and now he's a regional director of operations. So I've definitely seen a lot of that sort of internal growth and promotion. I think, as with most places, the right attitude, being coachable, and then obviously doing the work, putting in the time, learning, and then growing. The leaders here are definitely like really, really happy to push people upwards into those management roles and above.
Thank you. That's a great example. So maybe I see some questions coming in. Thank you guys so much. Please use the Q&A feature for your questions. And if you see a question that you'd like me to ask, just vote on the question and I'll ask those first. So let's move into the hiring process. Maybe you could share with us, like, what does your recruitment process look like, from the application process? So where do they learn about roles? Any tips or clarity that you can provide around what to expect in the application process? And then also if you have any highlights or things that you'd like to share so that people have an understanding of what happens in the whole process end to end.
Of course. So we do all of our hiring through our Workday hub. So you can find all of our jobs predominantly through Workday. You can find them all on all of the major job boards. So LinkedIn, we use Indeed. They all get posted to those job boards as well. So from there, you'll apply on our Workday hub. And the hiring process is pretty simple. We go through, me and Luda do obviously go through our applicants, and we weed out for the experience a lot of the time. We weed out for location, wage, all that kind of good stuff, making sure it's all aligned and making sure that we're not going to waste applicants' time as well, because a lot of times applicants, are so stressed about finding a job that they just apply to kind of everything that they can and hope to hear back. And so we don't want to waste our applicants' time, that if they're not, looking for the right wage. We understand, especially wage has a lot to do with your livelihood, and you can't live if you're not making the wage that you need to be making. So, especially in those regards, we are always weeding through and making sure that we're contacting the correct people and making sure that we're getting the best applicants there. From there, you'll have a short conversation with a talent acquisition specialist, anyone on our team, mainly just, realigning, making sure that the job is what you expect it to be, making sure that we're going over your resume and checking out all of your experience and finding out, like Luda had said before, your why behind senior living. And then from there, we'll bring you in for an in-person interview in the home that you applied for, and with our hiring manager, depending on which position you applied for.
Yeah, I'll just add something. I know there's a lot of buzz around auto rejections and AI and all that stuff. We do not use anything like that. It's very organic. It's very old school. The applications come through and a human being is literally going through them one by one and sort of seeing what's going on. So yeah, there's definitely no auto rejections or anything like that. Now, with that being said, it can be difficult sometimes because we can post a role at times and you have 300 applicants. So you can imagine how much time it would take me or Melissa or anyone on our team to sort of sift through literally one by one. It does take time, but we definitely don't have any kind of like AI software that's going to screen out people based on their responses.
Okay, that's refreshing. That's good to know. Thank you for letting us know that. I did have a question around AI, so you answered it already, so that's great. I'm actually going to move to some of our guests' questions. So please, everyone, put your questions in the Q&A. So I'm going to go move to your questions now. I have a question that someone's saying is, do you appreciate or look for specific certifications such as CPR?
Well, on our nursing staff, we do look for, obviously, CPR is a big one. I'm pretty sure all of our nursing staff has to be CPR certified. It's great to have at any level of our care or any position that we're offering. It's a good to have. I wouldn't say it's a make it or break it for some of the other positions that we are always searching for. But as far as other certifications, it's all aligned with whatever position that you're applying for. So if we're looking for PSWs, we unfortunately can't take anyone who's still in school to be a PSW. We need someone who's a certified PSW. And, along the same lines with other things as well, RPNs, especially. One area that we can highlight, though, is that when we are searching for RPN or for PSWs in Ontario, we can take people who are doing the bridging program or who are on their way to being an RPN to work as a PSW once they've hit a certain amount of schooling hours. So I think it's after their first year of school for RPN,
Okay.
we can take them after that.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you. Someone asked, a recruiter once advised her, to be a little bit more aggressive in pursuing the hiring team. If you don't hear back from an application. So what is your preference? If someone does, apply to a job and they know the recruiter or they know the hiring manager, is it okay to reach out to the recruiter personally if they don't hear back? Or what is sort of the etiquette in terms of reaching out?
I mean, it's going to differ from person to person. I don't mind at all. I actually encourage people, if I've screened them and I'm going to share them with the hiring manager, and I'm like, listen, if you have any other questions you forgot to ask me, or if you want to follow up, like, I obviously move from person to person. There's a lot of things happening all the time. That's okay. Remind me, send me an email, put me back, put yourself back top of mind. And if I can find something out for you, I'll find out something for you. But I can't speak for all people in TA. Me and Melissa are a little bit special because we actually came from a staffing agency background. So
Okay.
we are definitely a lot more candidate centric, I find, with our approaches where, we're like, helpful. We want to help you find a job. Okay, if I can't help you with this particular site, perhaps I can share you with another site because I know they're looking for the same skill set or whatever it might be, right? So that's going to differ from person to person. But I mean, I think a little bit of aggressiveness is a good thing because it shows that you're interested. It shows that you're committed to the process. Rather than, I'd rather you do that than ghost me when I'm trying to offer you a position because that happens sometimes too. So yeah, I think it's not a bad thing within reason.
Thank you. I see some hearts coming through the screen too, so good to know. How about the flip side? Like, are there any mistakes that you're seeing candidates making that you would like to suggest or share so that our guests today try to avoid those mistakes?
I think that it's hard to speak for the entire job market, obviously, but especially in our line and at COGIR and in our seniors' homes, like, we really want to see your heart. We want to see your why, and we want to see the empathy, and we want to see everything that you bring to the table. So not treating your interview or your phone screen too professional. We want to hear it. Like, if you make me cry, you're getting the job.
Oh God.
But yeah, just, opening yourself up and being vulnerable. And
Being
especially
vulnerable.
it's a difficult thing to be vulnerable, but it's also really magical. And it really shows us that, like, you have passion behind what we are doing here.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Thank you. So I have some questions from people that are very individual, but I'm going to try to make it a little bit generic just so that other individuals can benefit from the answer. So I do have somebody who is bilingual, located in Quebec, and has an electrical engineering background. Just wondering, are there opportunities there, to work in like transformer marketing or electrical substations, looking for any opportunities that are transferable for electrical engineering. Does that resonate at all? Are there any needs for this kind of a background?
Yeah, we've seen that come across definitely for sure. I can't speak too much for Quebec, but I think they're going to be quite similar to us because they have their own team over there. The closest thing would be maybe a maintenance manager at a site, which is going to be a little bit different in terms of, you know, it's more hands-on work, like a handyman, someone who's sort of like almost like a general contractor in a way. There isn't anything really that we would have that's more intricate that way. Like, you know, picture if something goes wrong in a building, they're probably calling, you know, somebody with a ticket, somebody that's an expert in under more operations.
Okay.
Whether it's the multi-residential or it's the senior living, and it's everyone in there that's kind of operating, not so much that sort of stuff, if that makes sense. So
Okay. Awesome. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. I've got a couple PSW questions. So, you know, let's just recap. If somebody is pursuing a PSW path, I've got somebody just asking around like what is actually mandatory that they must have before they can apply for a PSW. And then a second candidate is just saying, you know, recently graduated, you know, from a technology sort of background, but currently pursuing a PSW worker from a central college, looking to like get their foot in the door. So do you mind maybe sharing like what is mandatory for a PSW? And maybe you could share with them what are the major milestones that they need to pass to be able to be considered for a PSW with you?
Yeah. So unfortunately fortunately or unfortunately, we do need you to be completed your PSW school. So I don't believe at this time any of our homes are taking placements. I would have to double check, but I don't believe so. And in that regard, you do need to be completed school. So as that goes, I do believe PSW schooling has 2 placements, and then you're in class as well. So you need to be completed the whole thing, has to be a graduate. You have to have your certificate. But then again, as I said, if you're doing your RPN program after 1 year, you can apply to be a PSW in our homes.
Okay, great. Yeah, you mentioned that as well. So hopefully that clarifies for everyone. I also have some questions from people who are interested more on the real estate side. Seems like we've got some individuals that have that kind of a background working in like private equity, real estate, someone who's new to the country. So welcome, Anthony. And also someone else who's more on the, I guess, construction and building side. So just wondering, in terms of those property management or real estate development roles, any tips on how do they find out about those positions? Because I know you mentioned that you may not directly recruit for those, but how do they find out about them, and anything you can offer in terms of tips for that side of the business?
They'll still be found online. I think the majority of them are actually posted through, it's funny, through our Quebec team, because the VP of operations or whatnot for that side of the business is actually based out of Quebec. So we do have one person on our team that currently supports a few multi-residential and, you know, those types of roles at the moment, but not too many. And it's really, again, like your superintendents, your leasing agents, anybody that, like, COGIR is an operator. We come in and we do operations management. So anything that sort of touches that operations management piece is going to be something that we might hire for.
Okay.
Anything like construction, building, the actual building of the buildings, I mean, not so much under our portfolios. I think that that's going to be sort of probably third parties that they're working with and things like that. But we essentially come in and we put in people to operate the building, and I mean, you know, obviously revenue and all those kinds of fun things that go along with that.
Yes, yeah, that's helpful. Okay. So I'm going to focus on the recruiting questions still. So just a reminder to everyone, please use the Q&A. I see some questions going in the chat. Use the Q&A feature for your questions. That'll be great. So how important are the LinkedIn profiles in your screening process? Like, do you check someone's LinkedIn?
I would say for management roles, especially management level and above, we're probably looking at your LinkedIn just to, check you out a little bit. We do have our lifestyle consultants, which is a sales-based role. So for that role, we are 100% looking at your LinkedIn and making sure that you know how to market yourself.
Mhm.
On the day today, because we do get a lot of applicants through our Workday portal, we don't necessarily use LinkedIn for too much, but again, management levels, we will always look. And if we are finding that we are not finding who we need, we will turn to LinkedIn and we will use all the tools we can to find you.
Okay, got it. So you find talent on LinkedIn
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
well. Okay, so it's good to know. We do mention that. I know the schools mention that too. So it's good to know that it is a tool that you still use. So Tajmin, you're nodding. So I know you've heard that too.
I can add something to
Sure.
that. I have a lot of people that reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. I'm sure
Mhm.
Melissa as well. So, I mean, if you're going to reach out to me and say, hey, I'm really interested in this role I saw that you posted, what's the first thing I'm doing? I'm clicking on your LinkedIn. It's your resume. Like I don't need to, hey, yes, thank you. Please send me your resume. I'm going to very quickly click on your profile and I'm going to skim, like, what's your background? What are you doing? What are you a fit for? And then taking it from there. But yeah.
Exactly, for sure. It's easy, right? And you reached out to them on the platform as well, so it's definitely a good tool to make sure that you have your LinkedIn profile up to date as well. So I have some questions here around maybe IT roles, business analyst roles. Are there any opportunities there?
I can take that one if you want, Melissa. So
Our
yes,
support
out
office.
of our support
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Our support office, our head office, like we don't really call it head office because we are the, supporting for the rest of the country. But yes, we do have some IT roles. There are accounting roles. There's project management roles. Like we just hired a project coordinator. I'm currently looking for a marketing coordinator. So we do have a lot of those positions that work out of our support office that then will support the senior living residences with, a variety of things, but yes, we do hire for those as well.
Fantastic. What about pharmacy assistant type positions?
I believe that,
Not
yeah,
so
I
much.
believe our residences do use like a third party to do all of our prescriptions and stuff like that. So I don't think
Prescriptions.
that's not directly through us. So we wouldn't be hiring for those roles.
It's like a
Okay.
contingent worker. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be directly through operations at the sites. I know
Okay.
that in Alberta, like Alberta is much different than Ontario. Like they're definitely more heavily like regulated, I find, with certain things as well with Alberta Health Services. But yeah, I've seen that a lot. There's like physicians and pharmacists that are kind of added in as almost a contingent worker, but they kind of handle that through, I think, Alberta Health Services. So.
Okay. Okay, great. I also have some more senior level position questions. So for somebody who's got like 10 years or plus in account management, sales, or customer service, is that a profile that you would find applicable in the head office?
For a sales type role, it's always relevant for our sales position on site. So that's the people who are doing like actually selling our rooms to seniors and their families. And yeah, I would say it's definitely applicable. As for like higher up, I believe we have a regional sales as well, right, Luda?
There is a kind of a regional sales footprint,
Mhm.
sort of. We have a sales specialist, like especially in Western Canada, and she sort of
Okay.
supports multi-sites. But the thing with us, and this is where it gets a little tricky, I will say, anybody from like a hospitality background, hotel management background, anything sort of that, if you're not coming directly from retirement background, is probably the most applicable and is usually sort of the easiest transition, let's say. So if you come from some sort of sales where maybe you've sold rooms in a hotel or even real estate, I guess, it's kind of a good mix.
Mm-hmm.
To come in as a sales consultant. And that's honestly, I'd say, one of the most important roles, because of course, right, everything is occupancy and revenue driven. So we want a strong sales consultant on site that's able to fill the suites.
For sure. I can absolutely see that only when you said it, I saw the connection. So that's a really good example to give. I also have, some questions here for people who maybe are career switchers, maybe don't have direct experience, or who are newcomers to Canada. I feel like you've already shared the importance of customer service. Very important, the empathy, being able to connect with seniors. Any tips for people who are trying to get into this field, or maybe volunteer types of work that they could do, or any other thoughts around somebody who wants to break in but doesn't have the direct experience just yet?
Almost all of our homes, I believe, in Ontario at least, do accept volunteers. A lot of them work with different colleges. A lot of them work with community centers, all that kind of good stuff. And most of our volunteers, I will say, are there for our activities programs. So playing games, doing activities, we have paint nights, we have barbecues, we have all the good stuff that we offer our residents. So they help out with all those kind of things. Of course, if you be a volunteer at our homes and you make a good impression and you've got something kind of on your mind, we're always, open to hearing what's your next career step. And if it aligns and if everything aligns, then of course we would be willing to take people, even if they don't necessarily have the experience to back it up. I think that, again, like we've been pressing this whole time, a big part of COGIR is like the empathy, the attitude, all that kind of good stuff. So like I said before, you don't necessarily, for all of our roles, need the direct background. A lot of things can work out as long as you're the right person for the position.
That's so great to hear. And if they wanted to volunteer, how do they find out about the volunteer opportunities? Is it posted on your website as well, or what's the best way to volunteer?
It's very specific home by home. So I believe you can, I mean, if I was going to do it myself, I would just call the reception desk at the home and see how they are, see the home closest to you and see if they're accepting volunteers. Alternatively, you can connect with your college or your university. You can connect with your community center and see if they already have a partnership with one of our homes by chance. As I said, it's very specific home by home. So unfortunately, that's not really where Luda and I would fall, but we would always be more than happy to help anyone who needed some help getting connections in that realm.
Great. Thank you so much. So volunteer, everyone. Look at the local areas to do your volunteer, reaching out directly to the offices or the homes in your local neighborhood. And you can find that online. I think I've got an easy one here for accounting roles. Do they have to have their CPA or ACCA and degrees are acceptable instead of a CPA?
It's going to depend on the role. It's really role dependent. Yeah. Like I know that we recently did hire somebody who I think she is a CA or CPA or something of that sort. I don't touch those roles too much, but yeah, it's just going to depend on the level. Is it a more junior role, intermediate, a senior role? Like, of course, if you're going to come in as a director, right, for accounting or finance, then yes, of course, they're probably going to require a lot more certifications and whatnot. But definitely, for those things, I would just keep an eye on our available roles on our website, right? Because everything is always posted as soon as we put it up or we open it up, and it's usually outlined. Everything will be in the job description. Yeah, I mean, yeah, some things will be mandatory, of course, right? We know, especially with those kinds of roles. Sort of just piggybacking off of Melissa there too, is some roles, you can have the right transferable skills, and then there's some roles you have to have certain degrees, certifications. You can't really do too much about it, right? So,
exactly. I'm seeing a community service worker program. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Is that applicable at all?
I personally am not very familiar with that.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends on what market, because I will say, like, for example, some of my sites in, I want to say Manitoba, they have, they're almost like a companion. like someone who works with the seniors and does things with them. However, they're not like a healthcare aide or a PSW. They're not certified, but they're allowed to do some stuff. I don't know if something like that would be applicable for one of those types of roles, but
Okay.
I haven't heard of
Thank
that
you.
one.
I have a question here. I think I know the answer. I'm going to ask it anyways. It says, is it a red flag if the work experience dates on LinkedIn don't match the resume? Sometimes people are not comfortable with the real dates on LinkedIn because everyone can see it.
Yes and no. I will say I will usually, especially for our management level and above positions, I'll check to make sure that we're kind of on the same wavelength here, because you can put anything on your resume, it's kind of private. Whereas your LinkedIn, everyone can see it. So we're hoping that the LinkedIn, you wouldn't really be being representing when you were working.
Misleading.
However, yeah, misleading about it. However, I would say a lot of our hiring managers, when they check out your LinkedIn, they will question it. They will come to us with questions about it, and they'll just say, I'm just noticing this says October and this one says April. So when did they stop working here? We'll get questions like that a lot. So definitely it's a yellow flag.
A yellow flag. I love that.
I hear you.
Honestly, be honest. Like, even if you have gaps in your resume and things like that, like, you know, I think there's something to be said for just being straightforward. Hey, I left this role because I just vibing there. It didn't work for me. I didn't like it, or it didn't align with my values. Like, we hear all these things all the time. I don't think that anyone should hold it against you if you are kind of going through these things. So I think it's better to just be straightforward and honest rather than omitting things or changing where it could come back to kind of bite you. Because of course, like we will ask, like, hey, what happened here?
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you so much for your time again after a long day at work. We're so excited again to have you with us and learn about COGIR Real Estate and senior long-term care in general. This has been such a great conversation. Before we close off, is there any last pieces of advice or things that you want to make sure that everybody remembers when they're looking for a job with you or during the recruitment process?
I just coming from not even COGIR specific, but like Luda mentioned, we both came from a staffing agency before this. And I will just say, you know, as much as following up and all that kind of good stuff is always great, making sure that you are, you know, polite, kind, and personable when you're speaking with, especially talent acquisition. We speak to so many people every single day. And unfortunately, like, not all of them we can give jobs to, even though we really want to. And so I think that, you know, the more genuine you come across as yourself, the more likely we are to like just go the extra mile to help you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And thank you so much, Luda. Please give them a big round of applause for joining us tonight. I have a poll up. I'd love to get your feedback. If you have any questions or suggestions for us for our next Ask a Recruiter event, please let us know. I'm going to leave the poll open for a little bit longer. Also, wanted to highlight for you, we've got, you know, regular events every Wednesday from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. On Wednesday, October 22nd, we are going to have a tips on virtual interviews, mastering virtual interviews, learn how to stand out in your interview process, especially considering we have an event coming up, Get Hired at Home, specifically for London region and the surrounding area. We've got a number of employers joining us there. And again, congratulations to COGIR for expanding in the London area as well. On November 5th, it will be, you know, starting at 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. We've got 10 employers registered, and you'll all have an opportunity to attend info sessions as well as speed interviews if you match those positions. So please take a look. I will be posted on our LinkedIn very soon. And so you want to apply and save your spot. As well, we know that trying to get experience is really tough, especially if you're still searching. So wanted to highlight a volunteer opportunity happening very soon on October the 18th. It's a prostate cancer conference. So they are looking for volunteers. So you can scan the code to attend. This is free, hosted by the Walnut Foundation. And if you're interested in volunteering, please reach out to us at info@Devant, and you can get some more information about that. Again, just to highlight for those of you who are graduating or going to be graduating this year, we're really excited to let you know that on November the 12th, we will be launching our Alumni Advantage program. It's a very big milestone for Devant. We're going to expand our services to all alumni across Canada to support you with your job preparation, so that when you do meet amazing recruiters like Melissa and Luda, that you are ready to share your story and to make sure that you have the best foot forward in your interview. So we're going to be here to support you every step of the way. So with that, I'm going to end our session today. Thank you guys so much. Again, feel free to introduce yourselves, ask questions, and we'll see you again next Wednesday. Again, thank you so much, Melissa and Luda. Tashmeet, thank you for joining us. And I'll stay on a little bit longer if anybody has any logistical questions for me. But have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sisha.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Luda.
Tashmeet.
Thank you, Melissa.